Perfect. Thank you, Hans. So as mentioned, my name's Kaylin Keys. I'm a business development manager with Efficiency One, which is a nonprofit organization that operates Efficiency Nova Scotia, Canada's first energy efficiency utility. I work with municipalities, First Nations communities, governments, and schools, and I'm happy to be here today to tell you about the great work being done in Nova Scotia by the municipalities here to reduce their energy impact. So here's what I'll be discussing today, walking you through basic information about Nova Scotia and the way that our organization operates as an energy efficiency utility. And then I'll focus on some key projects being done in our municipality. I'll highlight a new arena built in an Indigenous community that's among the most efficient in Canada, discuss innovative solutions for water and wastewater systems, talk about a city that reduced their energy costs by 25% in 3 years, and highlight a small town that's projecting to reduce 80% of their GHG emissions through an economic development plan. I'll also highlight some of the services we provide to help municipalities inform and engage their residents and help them to implement their own energy efficient projects. Finally, I'm going to cap off with some of the key ways that we message energy efficiency to different levels of municipal leaders. And I'll provide some additional resources on the webinar page with some links that you can explore after this is done. So Nova Scotia is one of the 10 provinces and 3 territories of Canada. It's located on the east coast, jutting out into the Atlantic Ocean. Slightly larger in area than Denmark, but with a population of only about 920,000 people. Population stayed pretty stagnant recently and is aging. And temperatures are moderated by the ocean, so it's one of the warmer climates in Canada. However, overall heating loads are still much more substantial than cooling loads. Energy policy is regulated in Canada at the provincial level, not the national level. However, Canada did sign on to the Paris Accord and expects that each province will reduce their GHG emissions by 30% by 2030. Nova Scotia had also implemented policies to reduce their GHG emissions through electricity generation prior to signing the accord. There's 50 individual municipalities in Nova Scotia, a mixture of towns and county, district, and regional municipalities. The largest one is Halifax with 400,000 people, followed by Cape Breton Regional Municipality with 95,000, and the smallest being Annapolis Royal with under 500 people. There's been a trend in recent years of some smaller municipalities amalgamating or dissolving, and rural municipalities struggle with some of the traditional industries failing and a shrinking tax base. There's also 13 Mi'kmaq communities in Nova Scotia. We are the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq Nation, and they have rights set forth through treaties with the government. So they're an Indigenous people that live in Nova Scotia as well. In terms of the energy mix and how we create electricity in Nova Scotia, most electricity is still produced through coal power generation. So there's coal mines in Nova Scotia that traditionally fed the generators here. So as you can see, this is as of early April. Coal still made up to 62% of the energy mix year to date. That will go down throughout the year, but Nova Scotia is undergoing a major energy shift. It used to be up to 76% coal 10 years ago, and there's a major hydroelectric project with subsea cables nearing completion in Labrador. There's one privately owned regulated electricity provider for the whole province, but 6 municipalities do still maintain their own municipal electric utilities. Additionally, most homes in Nova Scotia are heated with home heating oil, although there is one natural gas utility available in some areas. Nova Scotia also has Canada's oldest building stock, with 23% of the homes being built before 1940. If you were to include energy efficiency in the energy mix, it would represent about 10% of the overall electricity requirement. similar to the amount of hydro or gas. So Efficiency Nova Scotia was established in 2010 to manage electricity demand-side management initiatives within Nova Scotia. These initiatives were initially funded by a DSM charge on electricity bills. However, in 2014, the provincial government made legislative changes that created Canada's first energy efficiency utility. And what that means is we have the exclusive right to supply the electric utility with reasonably available, cost-effective efficiency and conservation activities for a 10-year term. The Efficiency Nova Scotia franchise is a public utility regulated by the Nova Scotia Utility and Review Board, and they approve agreements between the electric utility and Efficiency Nova Scotia on what the appropriate level of DSM activity is. And the cost of these activities is now included within the electricity rates as opposed to being a separate line item. In 2015, the Utility and Review Board approved a 3-year, $102 million investment in DSM activities. I should mention that any figures presented are in Canadian dollars. 1 Canadian dollar is equivalent to about 78 cents US or 0.64 euros. So Efficiency Nova Scotia, as mentioned, is Canada's first electricity efficiency utility, and we offer advice, technical assistance, and financial incentives to help Nova Scotian households and businesses reduce their energy costs. To date, over 278,000 Nova Scotians have participated in efficiency programming, reducing the province's electrical load by 10%. Efficiency is also on track to contribute 50% of the 2020 emission reduction targets for Nova Scotia's electricity sector, while also saving Nova Scotians $165 million on power bills in 2017 alone. So the way it works, Efficiency Nova Scotia is operated by Efficiency One, which is a not-for-profit organization, independent from both the utility and the government, and that minimizes conflicts of interest. The electric utility purchases efficiency from us at a rate set out by the Utility and Review Board, who make sure that that is affordable for ratepayers in the long term. Additionally, the provincial government does provide us with some funding, mostly to help low-income residents and to pilot new programs or services. Our savings are evaluated annually by a third party and reviewed by stakeholders through the regulatory framework. Note that for most municipal operations, our services can only target electricity reductions and not other forms of energy reductions due to this way that we are funded. However, because of the energy mix I showed earlier, electrical energy reductions also have the biggest GHG impact. So we're currently in the 3rd year of the inaugural agreement under this framework, and each year of that plan will generate savings that last for an average of 16 years and will ultimately save ratepayers $416 million in electricity costs, while also avoiding 3.5 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions. Looking out even further, we know that by 2040, there's the potential to reduce Nova Scotia's electricity use by as much as 30%. So in terms of how we go about getting those electricity reductions, we provide services for everyone, to homes, businesses, institutions, organizations, and obviously municipalities. In essence, it all boils down to advice, education, and rebates, and we offer a similar suite of products to both residential and organizational customers. We can help do light or deep energy retrofits to existing buildings, build efficient new construction, or offset the initial cost of efficient equipment. In the next section, I'll be concentrating on how municipalities have been participating in our programs, which fall under the commercial side on this slide. In 2017, these are the results that we achieved. And so it's clear we've had a significant impact on the energy usage in Nova Scotia. In fact, by some projections, we're already close to achieving the Paris Accord agreement within this province, and efficiency is a big contributor towards that. However, there's still much to be accomplished. So what makes municipalities different from our other customers? Well, From potholes and police services to snow clearing and city planning, municipalities have a very diverse set of responsibilities. Given that municipal politicians are beholden to the residents, municipalities often focus on services for taxpayers and can't necessarily allocate adequate resources to their own assets. In many of the smaller towns in Nova Scotia, the infrastructure is very old and may have had maintenance deferred for several years. While municipalities do have the ability to invest in long-term projects, limited budgets often require that only immediate concerns are addressed. Municipalities do occasionally also have access to apply for infrastructure or other funding from the provincial and federal government or other organizations. To date, 44 of the 50 municipalities in the province have used our programs to target their municipal operations. However, as mentioned through our programs, we have a broad reach, and homeowners and businesses in every municipality have participated, with nearly 300,000 participants across the province. We've also helped municipalities to implement bylaws encouraging efficient retrofits. We attend many public events to educate and engage residents, and we've implemented a number of pilot programs to try new solutions to help municipalities, and I'll touch on those a little later on. So every municipality has opportunities for energy saving. At the very least, all municipalities have street lights. However, in Nova Scotia, the provincial government mandated that all street lights be changed over to LEDs over a number of years. Because this was mandated by the province, we don't provide incentives to the municipalities to actually convert their lighting. There's many other lighting opportunities within municipal buildings, though. And for some of the simpler lighting products, such as T12 fluorescent tube lighting, we offer instant rebates for switching to LEDs. That means that the distributors automatically apply the rebates on LED lighting they sell, and we use a blended average to determine the amount of savings at the end of the year. For some of the more uncommon lighting, such as high bay and parking lot lights, we require an application detailing which type of lights being replaced and the approximate run times for that lamp. Given that lighting involves simple calculations, which usually just relies on the difference in wattage, the savings can then be calculated. Although it should be noted that we do calculate savings or discount the savings based on interactive effects with the heating system in the building, and we also survey customers to determine whether they would have proceeded with the project without our rebates, in which case we further discount the savings we claim based on the response. However, as LED lighting becomes more widespread, we're focusing on trying to achieve deeper energy saving projects. Most of even the smallest municipalities in Nova Scotia operate several facilities, and typically the largest users of electricity are either the water and wastewater treatment facilities, or ice rinks or pools or other rec facilities. One of the easiest things municipalities can complete is optimizing their building control systems. In some of the larger buildings, the controls dictate the schedules, run times, and sequencing of major building systems, including the HVAC and lighting systems. Through our building optimization program, a service provider will visit the facility, review how existing controls and equipment are scheduled, and write a report detailing the changes required to update the controls and equipment to match the current building operations. For this program, we rebate up to $2,500 to the customer for the cost of the initial report and cover up to 75% of the total upgrade cost, depending on the amount of electrical energy savings anticipated. Oftentimes, this means very simple changes like scheduling when the heating system should turn on and off, and ensuring that simple equipment maintenance has been performed. But it can have a dramatic effect on building consumption. We've seen several cases where the savings paid for the project implementation costs in less than 1 year. In 2017, the Indigenous community of Membertou completed an ambitious new construction project of a multi-purpose health and wellness facility. Efficiency Nova Scotia has partnered with Membertou on several previous projects, and we were happy to accept this project into our new construction program. Through the new construction program, The community and the architect worked with an energy modeler to investigate some of the energy saving opportunities while they were building the facility. The energy modeler also compared the building to a baseline facility that would have been built if not for our incentives. And so a building to meet building code or what it would have been otherwise in the general market. And making ice requires a massive amount of energy, and each ice surface often produces up to 1 gigawatt hour in waste heat every year. So Membertou focused on making this facility to improve their community's health. So with 2 ice surfaces, a fitness facility, and a walking track, the facility has something for everyone in their community. It also attracts many visitors for hockey tournaments and events happening at or around the facility. So some of the measures they implemented include the geothermal system. They had an aqueduct under the site they were able to tap into, and it's pumping 700 liters a minute that they're able to take the waste or take heat off of or cooling off of to produce the ice. And they have multiple lighting zones in the classrooms and community rooms. They have photo sensors, occupancy sensors. And while they didn't add solar photovoltaics right away due to cost, they did design it so that they could do that in the future, including the roof structure for wind loading, and they ran conduits to the roof for wiring. They also have individual controls for each room for the HVAC system, demand-controlled ventilation via CO2 monitoring. They really concentrated on making sure the building was well insulated and airtight, with triple pane windows, and also included low-flow fixtures and waterless urinals. Additionally, they've got enthalpy recovery ventilators, and their surface hot water is preheated with some of the waste heat from the ice-making process. It's estimated that the energy efficiency measures that they implemented through the construction added about an extra 5% to the construction cost, but cut the energy usage in half. When you consider that many rinks in Nova Scotia are over 40 years old currently, and that would be the expected lifespan of this facility, the investment's going to pay off many times over. Another project I want to highlight is one of the ones we did with Halifax Water, a water utility in Halifax. And that's one of the areas we really want to focus on in the near future is water and wastewater services. It takes a lot of energy to treat and move water throughout a municipality and then to further pump and treat the wastewater. Additionally, we can assist municipalities in helping to fix leaks, and there are big savings to be had in both energy and chemical costs. And it further helps those communities to be more resilient during drought conditions. There are savings by optimizing this process, better controlling the pumps, blowers, and motors with variable speed or frequency drives, and through improved ultraviolet filtering. So Halifax Water has completed a number of significant projects with Efficiency Nova Scotia. And on top of the savings listed above of 4.6 gigawatt hours and $400,000 annually, these projects are also saving around 3,500 tons of greenhouse gas emissions. To highlight just one of the projects completed by Halifax Water, they completed a project at 3 of the larger wastewater treatment facilities to install new ductwork and isolation valves, as well as VFDs to allow better control of existing ventilation systems. And they installed a carbon scrubber bypass and a variable frequency drive on the blower motors to allow for lower speed in times of low order production. Given the size and complexity of this job, we put it through what's called our custom program, whereby we can complete nearly any large electrical energy saving project. So Halifax Water completed a feasibility study using their internal staff, but we would typically offset the cost of an external engineer to perform this study by paying up to 50% of the study cost. Efficiency Nova Scotia's custom team reviewed the feasibility study provided to us and confirmed the project accounting, which showed the project would result in nearly 900,000 kilowatt hours of annual electrical savings. We then provided a quarter of the project cost in rebates, bringing the project's simple payback to around 5 years, which is in line with the customer's investment requirements. The rebates were paid after the project was implemented and the measurement and verification process was completed. In 2015, Cape Breton Regional Municipality set a big goal. They wanted to reduce their municipality's energy costs by 15% over 5 years, which would result in about $1.5 million in savings annually going forward. To accomplish this goal, the municipality and Efficiency Nova Scotia shared the cost of an Onsite Energy Manager. So it's an Efficiency Nova Scotia employee named Dave Brushett, pictured on the slide, and he's an engineer. I believe he's in the webinar right now as well. And he worked with the municipality to identify the best projects to target. Efficiency Nova Scotia recoups the cost of his salary through the rebates we pay the municipality when they implement projects. So we hold back a certain percentage of the rebates we would have otherwise given them until his salary is paid off, and then they get the full amount beyond that. To date, over 60 projects are complete or underway, and I'm going to highlight a few key projects they've done. These projects have resulted not only in cost savings, but positive media attention and increased employee awareness engagement throughout the municipality. So one of the projects they completed is they identified that the Civic Center could be recommissioned through our building optimization program. This building is 70,000 square feet and houses the municipal offices and the city council chambers. In total, the project cost about $25,000. However, we were able to pay $10,000 in rebates, and the Onsite Energy Manager could manage the process for the municipality. The Civic Center is now saving $20,000 a year due to that project, meaning that they recouped their total cost in under 8 months. The Onsite Energy Manager also benchmarked the building in Energy Star's Portfolio Manager software, which is free. And it scored a 57 compared to an average building, which is a 50. Through that recommissioning project and some other projects done in the facility, the Civic Center now scores a 69 and continuing to rise with a target of hitting 75. The municipality now has all 82 of the buildings they own in this software, which sets baselines, adds accountability, identifies opportunities, and tracks the progress towards their energy goals. Another project I wanted to highlight is a water loss project they completed in their distribution systems to try and fix some of the leaks. So they scanned and repaired leaks in the system, which resulted in better metering and breakage response time. We provided them with a $60,000 rebate for the initial phase, and from that they're seeing $150,000 a year in energy savings alone, and they're expanding that to other treatment sites within the municipality. These projects are expected to save 1 billion gallons of water every year. And additionally, the municipality is getting savings for chemical treatment they would have otherwise had to provide in that water, and maintenance savings for the Public Works Department. It also makes the community more resilient to drought. Currently, the Onsite Energy Manager and the municipality are studying the potential for a district energy in the downtown core. They're considering a number of energy sources, including waste heat from the ice rink and water treatment facilities, biogas from the wastewater treatment plant, and geothermal heat from the harbor. This project, if implemented, would have a significant impact to the energy usage and greenhouse gas impact of both privately and publicly owned buildings, but it's also being considered as a way to attract businesses and revitalize the area with consistent and affordable heat. Cape Breton Regional Municipality was able to leverage other funding from the provincial and federal government and other organizations to help offset some of the initial costs. And one of Efficiency Nova Scotia's current tasks is to look at how to better assist large multi-year projects that don't necessarily have defined energy savings. So that's something we're looking for to work on in the future. In terms of the municipality's lofty goal to reduce their energy costs by 15% in 5 years, well, in just 3 short years, Dave Brushett and the municipality reduced their energy usage by 21% and their total energy cost by 25%. So a significant achievement in a short amount of time. Overall, more than 60 energy efficiency projects are either complete or underway in the municipality. As mentioned, they're tracking all their buildings in Energy Star Portfolio Manager. They've done LED lighting upgrades throughout the municipality, recommissioned a lot of the building portfolio, built a few new facilities, a new fire station and police station, installed many energy efficient products, equipment and appliances, including new freezers in the food bank, installation, VFDs, and building controls. And they're also a key member of our Municipal Energy Learning Group, which is organized by the national organization known as QUEST, or the Quality Urban Energy Systems of Tomorrow. Through this group, Efficiency Nova Scotia and many municipal partners share learnings and strategize how to best reduce energy usage. So we meet on a regular basis to kind of go over some of the successes or challenges each municipality has and work towards the future together. Efficiency Nova Scotia hosts an annual energy efficiency conference, and we awarded Cape Breton Regional Municipality with our Engagement Award in 2015 to highlight their success in this area. Next, I want to talk about the town of Bridgewater. So they're a small town with big ambitions. They were inspired by the energy transition of the Danish island of Samso, and this community of 9,000 people has developed an ambitious community energy investment plan to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by 2050. And not just the emissions through their municipal operations, but reducing 80% of all emissions created by their residents, businesses, and visitors to the municipality. Bridgewater worked with a number of partners throughout this process and has formed their own annual regular energy events to engage the public and business community in the process. To accomplish this goal, they developed a detailed community energy investment plan working with some consultants, SSG and What If Technology, and using City Insight software. They examined how greenhouse gas emissions are currently created in the municipality and linked through the various activities. They wanted to develop a strategy that was clean, efficient, secure, and affordable. And they analyzed some of the options accordingly, modeling only currently available technologies. They looked at where the town would be if they continued business as usual and considered both moderate and ambitious reduction targets. After much consultation with the public and private stakeholders, they selected the ambitious reduction plan, which would drastically ramp down their energy use while also creating a substantial amount of renewable energy. The plan outlined 3 key strategies designed to accomplish this 80% reduction, which were investing in energy efficiency, clean energy production, and clean transportation. While a nearly $400 million plan certainly sounds daunting for a community of just 9,000 people, the plan outlined how nearly every single one of the more than 20 actions in the energy shift have positive financial returns and, through reduced energy costs and carbon pricing, could save the community more than $2 billion by 2050. Additionally, Bridgewater created a toolkit for municipalities demonstrating how they can use community energy planning as an economic development engine. I've included a link to that toolkit in the additional resources that will be posted to the webinar page. So as you see, the strategies, they are planning to invest $153 million into energy efficient buildings, $157 million into new community scale energy systems, and $64 million into clean and active transportation. Focusing on the energy efficiency opportunities alone, so we were a very small part of their big plan, providing only some technical assistance and outreach. However, we expect to be actively involved in the implementation of it. Each part of Bridgewater's plan is actionable and details a significant return on investment. Their plan will also create jobs, make the businesses more sustainable, and allow residents to live and travel in comfort. So their top priorities from an energy efficiency point of view are net zero and passive house performance standards. By 2030, they plan to have all newly constructed buildings meet the highest energy performance standards. They were planning to retrofit nearly all existing buildings with the envelope efficiency of all homes and apartments and commercial facilities improved by 50%, and the industrial facilities operating 50% more efficiently. They plan to install cold climate heat pumps in 60% of all residential buildings, and they have 85% of the buildings will have heat pumps installed. By 2050, they also plan to have 80% of all buildings in the community with solar photovoltaic systems, and 50% of the buildings have solar hot water systems installed as well. So very ambitious and wide-ranging plan. They're currently implementing priority actions for the first 3 years of the plan, including researching, developing, and deploying financing systems and signature energy projects. They also have plans to further engage the community and to maintain or expand plans to green their town operations. While we offer a number of services targeted at homeowners and renters, from lighting and appliance retirement to home energy audits and deep energy retrofits, we also help municipalities to help their residents through programs, outreach, and a few pilot programs. So I'll highlight a few of those now. In Nova Scotia, there's a number of municipalities providing PACE, or Property Assessed Clean Energy programs, to their residents. The municipality sets up a pool of funding and uses that funding to offset the initial cost of energy retrofits for homeowners. The homeowners then pay back the cost of the retrofits over time, typically 10 years, at a low interest rate. The idea is that the value of the energy project stays with the property, not the homeowner, and therefore so should the loan. Most of the smaller municipalities that offer this program use an administrator to process the applications and ensure that the energy savings will outweigh the cost over the lifespan of the loan. And we help municipalities by educating them on the process, help them with wording bylaws, and creating marketing for residents. We can also administer the program for the municipality, and most of the programs run through our home energy assessment program. The provincial government has also provided some assistance to municipalities by offsetting the initial first-year marketing and administrative costs. The largest of these programs is run by Halifax and focuses on solar PV, solar thermal, and solar hot air systems. In the first year of this program alone, more solar thermal systems were installed in Halifax than the rest of Canada combined. We also help municipalities by attending local events to provide education and information. So we set up shop at dozens of home shows, fairs, and festivals every year to educate the public on what we can do for them. We also have a Green Schools program that teaches kids about the value of energy efficiency and clean energy, and that program's in half of all public schools currently in the province. And we've developed tie-ins for teachers to use with school curriculum. To highlight just a couple of the pilots we've done for municipalities, our principal funding, as mentioned, is very tightly evaluated and regulated. So it can be challenging to undertake pilots if you don't have a high certainty of the savings. However, we've been fortunate that the provincial government has recognized the merit in several ideas that have been brought forward to the pilot stage, and they've funded some of those. As I mentioned early in the presentation, there are still 6 municipal electric utilities in the province, and these utilities operate independently from the main provincial electric utility, but they do still buy the majority of their electricity from that utility. These smaller utilities get charged a demand charge based on the peak electrical demand purchased, and that peak's typically set during the cold winter months, but then charged all year. Through this pilot, we aim to reduce the peak load by 5%, and what we had residents do in one of the towns, Mahone Bay, was sign a power pledge to reduce their usage during peak events. This winter, when temperatures neared minus 15 degrees Celsius, we would send them information on how to reduce their usage and alert them to it being a peak power time. Unfortunately for the pilot, but fortunately for the residents of the municipality, this was a pretty mild winter, so it may be difficult to evaluate the success of this program, but the idea was that we could compare the actual usage, actual energy usage for the entire community to what it could have been if not for our intervention. We also are in the initial stages of offering a public purpose energy services company pilot, which targets buildings for public use and pays for the initial investment, so targets public buildings. And Efficiency Nova Scotia forecasts the energy cost savings as a result of the project, and both reduces the current energy bill while also paying back the upfront and management costs. So the idea being that municipality or public building can get the project financed up front by us and pay that project back through the savings, similar to how a PACE project works. We're at the early stages of this pilot, but we're expecting to find three projects over the next year. Finally, I wanted to talk about how we talk about energy efficiency to municipal leaders. So we have lots of different ways of speaking to clients. Some are primarily interested in cost savings, others rebates, others reduced maintenance or increased reliability. However, compared to most clients, municipalities have been far more interested in discussing environmental and GHG reductions. For many of our clients, especially in the private sector, costs are the primary focus and the payback is the primary result. And the fact that it's environmental benefits is great, but very much a secondary consideration. However, at the different levels of municipality, there's definitely different ways of messaging to them. For public works staff and supervisors, they're concerned about whether new technology is going to work. They're very familiar with what they have and they can be hesitant to change. However, we found that you can appeal to the reduced maintenance cost as a positive, especially when it comes to simple things like changing LED lights. Also, optimizing a building's performance can result in lower equipment run times, which reduces maintenance schedules and costs, and can result in fewer hot-cold complaints from tenants, which is of utmost concern to the Public Works Department. Occasionally, we have also built building operator training into our projects to overcome this initial hurdle. For busy town and municipal leaders, often wardens or chief administrative officers, appealing to operating costs can be very appealing, especially since we can offset the initial costs through rebates. However, many small and mid-sized communities still struggle to get even modest capital projects approved. So we keep an eye on other funding sources through the provincial federal government and try to help them out. It can be a struggle to submit applications on tight timelines with busy staff, however. At the political level of councillors and mayors, it can be helpful if the project is seen as innovative. These leaders are often keen observers of what's happening in other municipalities and love being first to be able to build a new rink or get solar on the roof. However, at this level, we sometimes struggle with some of the more traditional technical messages, like improving your building envelope or installing variable frequency drives, especially in comparison to big visual projects like solar or wind. At this level, we've also found it helpful to try and quantify the impact that the residents and businesses in that community are already having by discussing some of the key projects in their municipality. This demonstrates public support and can create some urgency and show that the time has come to act for those leaders. I try and get around to as many cities and towns as I can, but it can be hard to talk to everyone. So that's why I try and speak at as many municipal industry events as I can to ensure I'm getting that message out to those who can most benefit from it. The leaders in these municipalities are very busy people, especially in small towns where they can be wearing many different hats and performing many different functions. So it's vital to tie in with events they already attend and to try and make your programs really simple to participate in. Another key factor is once you get buy-in, to try not to take credit for your organization. You know, I'm really lucky in that most of the great ideas I've presented today were brought forth by the municipalities initially to begin with. And we've got a very engaged group of municipalities that have lots of ideas. But at the end of the day, the staff and politicians in those municipalities are the ones who have to live with the projects and talk to the public. So it's important to ensure that they're informed and enthusiastic about the projects they implement. Along with that, it's key to celebrate the success that the municipalities have. We give annual Bright Business Awards to communities in our province, and it helps to reinforce the great work that they are doing. We present them with a trophy they can display and create videos that we show during the event and post to our YouTube and other social media pages. We've also created case studies to highlight some of the exceptional projects. So thanks everyone today for this opportunity to talk with you. At this point, I'd invite you to ask any questions you may have. but feel free to reach out to me later if you have any other questions. And please explore the additional resources that will be posted on the webinar page. Thank you very much.